Good afternoon. I've got something a little different for y'all today. This roll that I'm welding on today, it's a 24-inch diameter roll. But if you look at it, there's a roll inside a roll. This is called a jacketed roll. And what it is, if you see that weldlet coupling there and one there on the bottom. What this is a water-cooled roll. The material that runs across it, material that runs across it is hot, and it'll heat the roll up, therefore heating up the bearings and causing the bearings not to last very long. And occasionally, this is for a major roofing company, and occasionally you'll get one of these where it's jacketed. It's got a internal tube. There'll be a pipe that'll screw into these weldlet coupling that are on here and then screw onto the journal. And but this is what it looks like before I start welding. You see this big bevel right here and a bevel here. But what I do is they already have it tacked together for me when I got here. I come back and grind these tacks, and I wire brush and get the rust out of it. But just like I do on the flush face rolls, I weld those uphill where I get maximum penetration. If you'll look at this weld right here, you see how that weld is uphill, and then the one on this flush face is uphill also. All the way around, it's uphill. But I do that because what they're going to do is they're going to come back and machine that face right there where I welded at. And they don't really want a lot of excess weld sticking out, because that's just more they have to cut. And uphill, like I said, more penetration. There'll be another head, and that head's gonna be, looks like it's gonna be 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 thick maybe. And they'll machine that to make that flat and true with the rest of the roll. And that way, when they put the head in, it'll have something flat to be against, and it won't have a wobble to it, and they'll tack it in. But I was welding on this, and because this is such a big diameter, well, let me back up. The bigger your diameter of your shell on a roll, the more it'll swell. And when you put heat to it, it grows. I mean, you can lay it out in the sun and it'll grow. Just any heat changes it. As I was welding along, I heard one of the tacks pop. So that told me that it was moving. So I went around to where that tack popped, and I started right here and welded all the way up to right here. And then I came back to where I started the other way and welded from here to here. But with that being said, this growing, if you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see right there, but you see the little gap between the shell and the head. I don't know if you can see it or not. It swelled enough that gap formed right there. So what I'm going to have to do is wait and let it cool. I had skipped around welding, trying to prevent that, but I'm going to wait and let it cool a little bit, and then that way it will shrink back down to where the shell is actually sitting on that. Well, actually that's the head of the cooling jacket, and it'll shrink back down on it and be touching again, and that way the roll won't be out of round. Because if you look, you'll see right here, see this dark spot right here? That's where they went in and machined that. Of course, they machined the whole thing, but they machined this spot right here to start with. That's called a witness mark in the machining world. And what that is so they, well, to get those witness marks, I'll back up again. To get those witness marks, I have a thing called a cat head, which is like a plus sign. And it has a center hole drill in the middle of it. And out on the 4 points of it, it has a bolt. It works kind of like a 4-jaw chuck. And they put one end of this shell in the chuck and then put the center on the tailstock in that cat head. And they adjust those 4 bolts until they get it pretty close to indicated in with the indicator. And then they'll turn these witness marks on here. And then they'll run what they call a steady rest, which is like a 3-jaw hollow chuck that has bearings on it that it rolls on. And they'll put these witness marks on both ends. They indicate both ends, and they'll put these witness marks on where they can take it out and flip it around and bore this inside right here. They'll bore this inside true with this head. So that's a little bit in the machining world too. But I thought that would be something good to show y'all, something different. Like I say, we don't do a lot of these, but when we do them, they're big. But that's about all I have to share. I need to finish this thing, and hope y'all enjoy the video. I'll talk to you later.